Welcome to Cinemophile, where we bring you the best in independent, documentary, and foreign films, and we talk to the people who made them. I'm your host, Mike Caspar, and you can find out more about the program by going to cinemophilepod.com. Set in the small farming community of Three Oaks, Michigan, home to the nation's largest Flag Day parade, Flag Day is a verité portrait of ritual, identity, and a belonging in an era of deep political division. Somewhere between tradition and transformation lies this village whose annual parade has become a pageant of American aspiration and memory. It's a wonderful film called Flag Day, and we're joined today by the co-directors, as well as co-producers and co-editors, Melissa Shea, as well as Andrew Shea. To both of you, welcome to Cinemophile.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Thank you so very much for being. I love the film for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is it is unfettered in its presentation in terms of getting to know the people in the film, the setting for it, the genuine patriotism and sense of community. Melissa, how did you either learn about Three Oaks, Michigan, or what was it that prompted or inspired you to make Flag Day?
Andrew was offered a job at Notre Dame teaching film, which ultimately he did not take. But as part of their courting of him, they took us, to this region of Southwest Michigan, and we really just fell in love with it. Andrew is from the East Coast, New York, and I'm from San Diego, and so Texas is really just too hot for us in the summer. So we were thinking of a place to get away. Our kids were still young. And so we went up to vacation and happened to find, a place that we were able to afford. And so we started spending our summers there. And our first summer, we were working on a documentary together and needed a little help with the kids. And we hired someone named Sandra Strauss, who just graduated from high school. And she suggested we come to the parade, and she happened to be Miss Three Oaks that year. And so her father, Rick Strauss, actually built the float and was pulling the float, and Rick is one of our subjects in the film. So that was kind of the introduction to Three Oaks and to Flag Day. And we really just had never seen anything like it and just loved the whole celebration.
Yeah, we kept going back year after year. It became an annual tradition for us, and our kids grew up, and we came to have our favorites, especially Lynn Isbell and the Michigan City Soul Steppers and others, and the red tractors and the green tractors and the horse drill teams, and we were finishing up another film, a fiction film, just a few years back in the summer of 2023, and it just really arrived to us, this idea that maybe this would be an opportunity to make a verite documentary about this parade and what it means to this small town and what patriotism means to them. And coming in an election year in 2024, we felt like the film might really resonate in terms of celebrating people coming together across all kinds of cultural and political divides. So that was really the start of the genesis of the idea to make the film was in 2023, but we started seeing the parade 10 years prior to that.
This is the work of accomplished filmmakers like yourself, in that you're able to present something that is what you just described. And in the process, you give us glimpses of some of the things that I think you were steadfast in focusing on, and that is kind of a political divide, cultural divide, whatever it might be, different perceptions of different people in the film. But we still see this portrait of this town in which it doesn't have to be said out loud. You can just you've got the impression, and that's really all you need. For me, really kind of landed. And I appreciated the way that there was no undue kind of forcing us to look at something that was just a natural part of the landscape in which these people live. And I just want to tip of the hat to you, because I really appreciated that about the way you went about making this film.
That was really the goal, to present the world of that community as we saw it and allow people to judge or to enjoy and to draw their own conclusions about both the things that draw us together and the things that keep us apart.
And there was, an element of observing the parade for so many years visually that you kind of come away with these snippets of stories. In the past, we've had some candidate running for something get into a bickering fight with one of the residents on the sideline. And, we knew these little inner exchanges happen, and we were hoping that, we would be able to have a few of those happen during the course of our Flag Day, which, we are grateful. It seems like there was enough going on that day.
Yeah, you're right about that. And by the way, just for the sake of people who might be hearing of Flag Day, maybe for the first time or don't quite understand its importance in the development of this country and why it's significant, I think we get enough of the information from the people in the film to understand that. And also one other thing about Three Oaks, Michigan, it lays claim to being the nation's largest Flag Day celebration. So you have those two things coming together, I think, in the film beautifully. It definitely is America's small town feel. There's no two ways about it. It is the embodiment of that. And I have to tell you, in my perverse cinematic eye, and watching too many movies, I couldn't help but think about the beginning of the David Lynch film where the Flag Day, the parade down Main Street, and I'm not saying this film was like that. It was one of those things I couldn't help myself. I've watched too many movies, but I couldn't help but think of David Lynch when I was watching some of this film. But that's
We'll
just
have to
me.
revisit that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't seek out the dark underbelly of small town American life, but it's there, and certainly that's he
Well,
succeeded in that in a way we could never duplicate.
no, no, but it's the brilliance of filmmaking and filmmakers that you can evoke completely different reactions with almost the same imagery. I mean, it's a testament to what you do in this film. So, but going back to just the idea of a Flag Day commemoration, it's a storied tradition, and certainly it wasn't just Three Oaks that is kind of the big celebration. It's across the country. I miss having a flag without it meaning more than celebrating the country. It's hard for me. It's just hard. It bothers me a lot that we can't in some places celebrate in that way. I don't. It's just something for me. I really bothers me a lot.
I think Melissa and I think, share that. And I think a lot of people in our audience also have shared with us after they've seen the film that it bothers them that they haven't been as comfortable, hanging their flag in recent years and they see this film maybe pushing them a little harder to just embrace their own personal brand of patriotism, whatever that is. The film makes the point early, or rather, the main one of the main subjects, Albert Brayboy Jr., the son of the oldest vet in town, makes the point that the flag is for all of us, and that this is an opportunity to take back the narrative, and that it doesn't belong to a particular political party, that it's for everybody, and we should all be able to enjoy it. For us, we're talking a lot about the flag, and of course, the name of the film is Flag Day, and the parade is a Flag Day parade. But for me personally, at least, the celebration has everything to do with veterans and appreciation and celebrating the people who've served this country over hundreds of years. And Three Oaks is a particularly patriotic town. The veterans in town, the American Legion, were just huge supporters of our project from the beginning. So for me, I can't really separate the symbol, the flag, from the people, the veterans that have really worn it so proudly.
I want to be able to send people. It's being released through a Brahmarama. And also, you have a lot of options. You can watch the film in various ways, but also, if you want to host a screening of the film, that's available at the website. So if you can go to flagdayfilm.com, and from there you can figure out how to either watch it or host a screening. And we're coming up on 4th of July, just as patriotic as anything on our calendar. So I'm going to push that. I really want people to, if they want to, if they're interested, flagdayfilm.com, and there's a backslash host if you want to go directly to where you can do that. And I'm curious about the reaction of people of the city of Three Oaks. Have they seen the film or?
We did an early screening just for participants and crew, and that was very successful. Were relieved to have them see it and, embrace the film. They had been very open to us during the filming, and, the Diane Thomas, who runs the parade, and her husband, Jason Nimzik, who was the Legion commander at the time, really let us invade the parade in a sense with 11 film crews. Everyone was, surprised at how many of us there were. We did screen it this weekend, and, it was near sold out crowds for three screenings, and everyone really thought it was great. I mean, they thought we captured the film, we captured the people, we captured the sentiment of Flag Day, which is so important to Three Oaks. And there was a lot of people who, are from Chicago or other areas too that came out to see it. And we're just really taken by how warm it was and
Yeah.
how the people of Three Oaks really embrace each other with grace, despite all of the differences.
Melissa and I, we wanted the film to be entertaining. We wanted it to be funny in places. And, we've been gratified to find that not only in Three Oaks, but in other locations where it's screening, people are finding plenty of moments of humor
Yeah.
and fun. People tell us that they laughed and they shed a tear and, they find it to be an emotional ride. It's short at 75 minutes, but we
Yeah.
feel like that it's an emotional story. It's not about a parade, as you know, you've seen it. The parade is the spine of the film, but the heart of the film is all the little stories
Yeah.
that go on before the parade, during the parade, under the parade, after the parade, all the little dramas, all the moments of life taking place behind the scenes. We didn't want this to be a Chamber of Commerce ad for Three Oaks. It's not just a glossy video about a parade once a year. It's really about small town America. At least that's how we envisioned it.
Yeah, and I hope I didn't push that conversation too far in that direction of it is what you just described it to be. How is the Betty White of Three Oaks, Michigan? How is she doing?
She's doing quite well. They've had kind of some turbulence this year within the family, some health issues, but they're doing great. And they were actually, her husband Bill and Barbara were the grand marshals this year. They were very emotional about that and very proud to be, have that honor. So
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
She's incredible. I mean, she's in her mid or late 80s now, and she's still working. And there's that moment in the film when someone in his 60s says she was my bus driver, and that young woman in her 20s says she was my bus driver. So, if Barbara was your bus driver, it means you're from Three Oaks.
Yeah, and also you had mentioned, the production of the filmmaking part of this, but Margaret Byrne, who I've had on the program for her work, is terrific. I just love her work and love having her on the show. She was, I assume, coordinating, getting all these cameras in all these different directions because you only got one shot at this, and you did a great job of capturing all these moments in what had to be a pretty frenetic day of filmmaking for you.
Yeah, it was. Margaret was great. She introduced us to, all of the Chicago cinematographers, and then we kind of set them loose. And Andrew and I, split the town, the crews, and then also the town geographically. So we were coordinating with, five different cameras each. And, we basically had it mapped out, to like every 15 minutes where we would be once Flag Day started. So.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I have one quick question for you. The closing song that the artist who did that, who is that?
Her name is Ray Zaragoza.
That's who I wrote down. I thought it was her
She's
song.
incredibly talented, and when we first heard that song, it just seemed so apropos. It's expressed the theme of the story so profoundly that hate can't be the face of the American dream that we felt like we had to end the film with that.
Yeah, it really struck me listening to the end of the credits and all. And by the way, I noticed a couple more Shays in the on the list of people who were helping. So congratulations. Keep it going, guys. I think that's
There's some
fantastic.
little Shays
Just a little
following.
Shays.
They're not so little. They're younger, but not very little. Yeah.
Well, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
For
Thank you
your
so
work here.
much.
Flag Day, it's a wonderful film, wonderful story. We've been speaking with the co-director, co-producer, co-editors of this wonderful film called Flag Day, Melissa Shea and Andrew Shea. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mike. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
You have been listening to Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar, the place where you will hear from the best in independent documentary and foreign filmmakers. Please check out our previous interviews as well as upcoming interviews and special programming by going to cinemaphilepod.com. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, searchable under Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar. Until next time, thank you for listening.